Welcome to Uncorked, Wine, Business, and Life with Bill Green. I'm Jerrold Colton, along with Bill Green here in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. And Bill, I know you are really excited about today's guest.
I really am. My friend Morgan Pressel, she's just an amazing individual, not only for what she's done on the golf course and her career, that the fact that she made the cut at 12 years old, the youngest to make the cut of the U.S. Women's Championship. And at 17, she turned pro. So I'd like everybody to meet my friend Morgan Pressel, who's also got a great wine palate, and she loves great wine. So this is a perfect show for her. Thank you for being here, Morgan.
I do. Thanks for having me, guys. I mean, you sold me with, we'll pour you some great wine. I said, okay, I got to come.
It didn't take much. It didn't take much.
We are thrilled to have you here, Morgan. Morgan, we're both sports guys. I have made my living a lot in sports, and Bill is a courtside season ticket holder for the Sixers for 30 years and loves basketball and all sorts of other sports. Tries our hand at golf, both of us, which is we met on the golf course, and man, we both suck. But besides that, we are fascinated to have you, and so much stuff about your career really amazes me. When I was a young guy, they passed Title IX. But up until then, women in sports wasn't such a big thing. It's changed so much, and it's been such a great thing. But you, from the start of your life, must have had a golf club in your hand.
Yeah, I actually grew up with a tennis racket in my hand. I come from a tennis family. My uncle was a professional tennis player, still an instructor, the director of tennis here in our community.
Who is that?
Aaron Crickstein.
I remember.
Yeah,
Well,
my mother played tennis at the University of Michigan. She taught tennis as well. I definitely come from a tennis family, so I actually grew up with a tennis racket in my hand. But it was about the time when I moved here to Boca Raton when I was about 8 years old. My grandfather, who had helped my uncle growing up, said, "I think you're too slow to play tennis, so maybe you should. Maybe now it's time we'll give you a golf club." So I guess the rest is history after that. I think he knew at that point what he was talking about. And now that I'm playing tennis now, I'm very slow. So
but that's right. Amazing that you had sort of the skills to become a professional athlete, maybe in multiple sports. Me, they told me I was too short for basketball, but don't try anything else. Anyhow, stay away. But Bill, just the fact that at that age, she was playing competitive level sports is unbelievable.
It really is. And it takes a dedication. And you went to your high school here, or actually your school, St. Andrews School, which is a fine school. How'd you balance that? Like, you're this famous kid at a well-known private school. How'd you balance all that?
Yeah, I definitely was. When I qualified for the Open when I was 12, it definitely pushed me into a much bigger spotlight. And I was just very focused on my golf at that time. I was just another normal kid who got cool opportunities to travel the world and play golf. And, but I was my parents and my grandparents especially were very much focused on my education. That really did come before my sports, even though I did skip some school to go play golf tournaments, but I always was expected to do my homework. My grades were very important to them. I had to get high marks. It was education was very, very important to them, especially with the potential that I might not go to college. That was always kind of a thought. I could potentially skip college, which I did end up doing.
Right.
And that was also the reason why I went to St. Andrews for high school, was to get that college preparatory type education, and knowing that I might not get any more education in the short term.
Morgan, that's really interesting, though, because you're not like an athlete that goes to a sports league or gets drafted. So you had a tough decision of education, or at least college, versus professional golf. And at that age, there's no guarantee you're getting paid when you're a golfer. So tell me about your thoughts by your family do we go this route? I'm sure college scholarship and playing college golf, which right now you get NIL money, and it'd probably make the decision different. But what was that decision like for a young girl?
Yeah, there's no question the decision now is very different. There's a lot of different factors than when I was making that decision. Even the fact that now you can go to qualifying school or Q Series without turning professional. So you can kind of take that gamble and say, well, let's go see if I'm good enough. When I turned pro, you had to turn pro before you went to Q Series. You couldn't, at least the final stage, you couldn't wait until after the event to make that determination. So it really was, okay, we're going all in here. And I had the opportunity to play in some, I get exemptions. I played in 7 LPGA events the year prior on exemptions and qualifications.
17, 16?
Yeah, 16, 17 years old. I guess the summer, most of the summer that I was between 16 and 17. And I don't think that I finished outside of the top 25 in those 7 events. So that was really kind of a marker for me of, okay, this is really something I could do. I finished second in the U.S. Women's Open. I really had a great opportunity. And I think as important as education was to my family, the feeling that I could always go back and get an education if I needed to, even if it wasn't to play golf. But this was really the time to try my hands at professional golf.
You came so close to winning that U.S. Women's Open at 17, and she lost, Bill, on a crazy shot. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was Cherry Hills in Colorado, very famous golf course. And I was in the lead, tied for the lead, going into the last hole, and my opponent holed out for birdie. A wild shot on the 18th hole. I was watching it from the fairway, and Birdie Kim ended up winning. And it was quite a moment in my career, that's for sure.
But you're 17, and the pressure of playing that had to be incredible.
I think because I was 17, without a lot of expectations from the outside, I think I was able to play very freely. I still say that's some of the best golf I've ever played that summer. I went on a month later or so to win the women's amateur, and I do think that was still some of the best golf I've ever played in my career. My last year as an amateur, but yeah, it was definitely a launching pad for me and a big confidence builder.
And you, so here we are. You at this point, it's less than 2 years, and your mom passed, unfortunately, for breast cancer. How did you navigate all that? Because the normal kid, you're a kid, right? 15 years old. The last thing you're thinking about when you just lost your mom, was the golf kind of a savior to help you get through all that?
Yeah, I think, my mom was my biggest cheerleader. She obviously a tremendous athlete, an exceptional competitor. I got a lot of my competitiveness and things like that from her, but, makes you grow up a little bit quicker. And, to be a 15-year-old, when she passed, she had battled breast cancer for about 5 years. And so it was life-changing for our whole family. And it really rocks the boat, so to speak. And yes, I was the person who kind of, put my head down. And I remember kind of the week that she passed, I was supposed to go to Sweden to play in a junior Solheim Cup event, US versus Europe. And of course, my grandfather was like, you're not going. But I wanted to go. I was like, I have to get out of here. I want to go back to playing golf. Like, that was definitely a safe place for me. I'm glad I didn't go. Of course, they knew they knew best. But as a kid, I was just like, get me out of this nightmare. And golf was that place. And the family that I had gotten to know growing up through junior golf was incredibly supportive as well. So I've just always been grateful for that.
And now here we are, almost 23 years since your mom passed. When did the Morgan Pressel Foundation start?
Yeah, it's been about 21 years now since my mom passed, and not that long after. She passed when I was 15. I turned pro when I was 17, and we started the foundation really the next year. So we started the event, I should say. We started a big event in our neighborhood here, Morgan and Friends Fight Cancer Tournament, and it's just really, this was our 18th year. So it's kind of grown into just this incredible organization of community and philanthropy. I mean, we live in one of the most philanthropic places in the world. And, just so grateful my mother lived here as well. And some people remember her from her years living here, fighting breast cancer and, really just wanting to support support us, support our projects. We have a Mama van here in the Boca Raton area that travels all over South Florida.
That's what I want to get to.
Yeah,
So,
soon to have a second one.
so the van is the coolest thing, right? It's this big 38-foot, something like that, van that goes to underserved communities for women that can't or are not thinking about getting checked, and for free.
Yeah, it provides just access, great access, not in a non-intimidating way. Travels to businesses, schools. A lot of school teachers really rely on the 3-4 times a year that the Mama van comes. They are all able to get checked that way, especially busy mothers. People who are truly intimidated to go to the hospital. Not a lot of people, it's an uncomfortable feeling for a lot of people, but the van really provides that great access, certainly helps those who don't have insurance and helps cover any screenings that they need.
Do you get statistics on how many positive results come out?
Yes, it's right about in line with what with the statistics based on in hospital, but the number of the uninsured is much higher percentage wise that from what we see to those that do go in to the cancer center at the hospital. So we're very proud of that, and we just want to make sure we reach as many people as we possibly can. And because today there are so many different people fighting breast cancer, and it's amazing, and we're all needed to put this puzzle together, from drug research programs to patient care to, we really focus a lot on early detection, because we do believe that today the way to fight breast cancer in this moment is to catch it early, and you have a much, much better prognosis. So the more that we can get those facilities out to the public, the better.
Bill, you were involved from way before you met Morgan, in doing things for breast cancer.
I just kind of like latch on to things, and I have not had breast cancer in my family, and I thank God for that. But you just got to give back, right? And you think about how many people need to be touched. I don't mean touching breasts, right? I mean touching their soul, touching their heart. And how do you do that the best way you can? And you've heard me say this before, Jerrold. It's great when you can write a check and make a donation. It's great when you can volunteer, because the volunteer is as important as the check writer, right? When you can do both, it's incredible. And that's why I've been involved with organizations like the Ronald McDonald House and Children's Hospital, which I just left that board. And, I've never been involved on the ground floor of a breast cancer organization, but it's certainly at the top of our list when we think about who we're donating money to for our annual giving.
And what I love is Morgan suffered this tragedy in her life, losing your mother as a teenage girl, and have turned it into a real positive, that basically for half your life you've been doing this now, and you've saved lives. And that is incredible through the combination of golf as well as your own endeavors and your own caring. And it's, to me, the greatest thing there is.
Yeah, I kind of see it now. I have the opportunity now to kind of reflect back in the, 18 years of the event, 21 years since she's passed. And I feel like it was just a way to grieve, a way for me to do something, to not, not have a pity party in a sense, but just like, what am I going to do? I have to do something. I'm very much a doer. My mother was very much that way. So I say that if she were still alive, if this would have been her idea, she would have been wanting to do something to help others, especially in the breast cancer space, having gone through it herself. So I do think that it was just a way to kind of compartmentalize what I was going through, and just, okay, what can we do? We have to do something. I'm definitely that way.
MorganPresselFoundation.com. Make a donation, everybody.
Thank you.
So the second van's coming. We're super excited about that. But let's take a little pause here, because Morgan really didn't come here to talk about golf.
I came here to talk about whatever you wanted to talk about.
And there's so much more I want to ask about golf, but
take the wine with the little stem tag on
Okay.
it. And we're not going to tell you what it is. I just want to get your opinion. You don't have to name grapes. The guy that was here, who you know pretty well, was naming the exact grapes that were in it. I just want you to get your opinion on this.
Wait, before we do, your mother's, I know she was Crickstein. What's her first name?
Kathy.
To Kathy Crickstein.
Pressel.
Kathy Crickstein.
Cheers. Thank you. It's a beautiful nose. It's lovely. It's got a nice spice to it. Very nice spice.
Well, that's a good palate.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Now I'm like on the spot. I'm like doing this on the spot. I drink wine to enjoy it.
Well, enjoy.
It's all right.
I have done a little bit of kind of studies, should you say, on low level, like sommelier studies, just kind of because I'm interested in it, and especially regions, different grapes. But yeah, this is like.
Okay, so if I told you you were drinking a wine from the beautiful state of New Jersey.
I love it.
It's the Saddle Hill 2022 Vintners Reserve.
It's beautiful.
Isn't it nice?
It's
and
beautiful. How long is it aged?
Well, we were about 16 months in oak barrels.
What vintage is this?
And it's young. It's too young. It's a
You
20.
you can tell by the color that it's
We're
young.
pushing. We're pushing. Well, not pushing. This is the highest priced wine in New Jersey, and quite frankly, I just did it to test the market and see what was going on.
I would have never guessed this was a New Jersey wine. Yeah,
It's a really nice wine.
It's
and we
beautiful.
we have a fantastic winemaker, and you can have good
you
grapes,
can kind of taste the sunlight in it, like
right?
yeah,
That hot.
yeah. It's got
humid-
the sugar like it's got a big kind of California style.
She's impressing me, Bill, and she handles a wine glass very well as well.
I'm under a lot of pressure here.
You know what?
No, this
Talk
is
about
beautiful.
pressure. I want to talk about pressure. Golf fascinates me because look,
Because we both are so bad.
but we are, but I never could have been good, no matter what.
Right.
And because it's of all sports to me, it's maybe more mental than any of them. I mean, it is 110% mental and the rest physical. I mean, it's incredible. And the concentration and focus you need is incredible. And what people don't realize also is that you're playing multiple rounds in succession and all the both physical and mental battle. Just talk about that and how you were able to do that on a stage at 12 years old to start and be competing with older ladies most of your professional career.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because golf is one of the only sports where the ball doesn't move. And the ball is sitting there, and it'll wait for you to pull the club back. And during those moments, and so many different things can go through your minds. And I think the normal golfer is very negative in that sense of, oh, there's water over there, there's out of bounds over there, or don't miss the ball, whatever.
So when I take out some crappy ball that I happen to have in my bag because there's water there,
exactly.
that's exactly what I do because I don't want to lose the good ball.
So you're assuming that you're going to lose the ball?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's not what they teach you. That's not what a sports
You and I have
psychologist
not
would
played
teach
together, but you will know that I'm pretty damn accurate on that one.
You also have to focus, shut out everything else on top of it.
It's a long time to maintain your focus because most rounds are 4 or 5 hours. So you have to have the ability to pull back your focus enough that you can maintain it for that period of time, but be able to narrow back in when it really matters. And I truly think you look at anybody on the LPGA tour and the PGA tour and the top players in the world, they're all exceptional ball strikers, wonderful putters, wonderful chippers. They all have the game. It's the mental side that really separates them. And the greatest players to ever play are the most mentally tough. And I think that really is the defining factor. And I'd say as a kid, you kind of have this carefree, somewhat nothing to lose attitude. And as you get older and you start building up some scar tissue, things start to change and you start to realize what consequences are. But in general, I mean, it's really a lot of self-belief, a lot of ability to control your heart rate, to control your mind under pressure. All those things really are what make the difference.
And if you can succeed at that, I really believe you can succeed at anything. Doing that is as hard as you could ever try in this world. Everybody knows the golf is the hardest sport, and for you to compete at that level and succeed at that level, to me, is just absolutely incredible. Bill, I don't know if you've ever played with a gallery, but I had the experience once, and at my level, you should never have the experience of playing with a gallery because it's not safe for the gallery. So it was at one of my clients, Boomer Esiason's charity tournament, and we had a nice sized crowd show up because we had so many celebrities in it. And it probably was the most terrifying moment of my life, standing at that first tee, them announcing my name and me having to hit a ball. And all I wanted to do was just not kill anybody and survive. And I didn't hit anything great, but I managed to keep it. You get it about 200 yards down.
I think I told you that when I was playing Pine Valley, which I know you love Pine Valley.
I do love Pine Valley.
And a friend of mine.
You notice how he casually just said, "Oh, I was playing Pine Valley."
Right. Oh wait, but
I'm only 18.
So one of my friends, and this is going back to like the mid 2000s, who has never invited me back because when he was only a member 2 weeks, and he tells me to take us out. It's me, Jeff Harrow, Russ Ball, and David Falk. And just as we're going up to the box, and I'm going up to the box, I have no business being on that course. We got a long dog leg right, and Lee Trevino is walking across with his group. And if you remember that, the on deck is kind of not behind you; it's right there. And my hands are shaking, and I miss Lee's head by that much. So I haven't been invited back.
Oh boy!
And so maybe when you come up to visit us at Saddle Hill this year. I'll drive you to Pine Valley.
Morgan, look, you had this sensational professional career, and now you're in a second career related to golf, and we'll get into that in a second. But do you mind sharing an embarrassing moment? I know our crew here always tells us, Tyler, that some of these things would be more appealing to the younger generation than what we talk about. Is there any most embarrassing moment that you've had on the golf course?
Most embarrassing moment.
And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but it makes us all feel okay.
I mean, there's been a lot of embarrassing moments. It's hard to narrow it down. I do remember, I'll touch on your story about not wanting to hit gallery, but I remember I was playing at an event in Arizona, and the first hole was kind of this gentle dogleg left, and to the right, off kind of the right side of the first fairway, first green, was the entrance, the spectator entrance where everybody's coming in. It was a beautiful day. There were a ton of people there. And I'm in the middle of the first fairway, kind of in one of the last groups. So there's a lot of crowd around, especially at that entrance.
Last group is a good thing.
Last group is a good thing, but also means more eyeballs to watch me shank one from the dead center of the fairway right into all the people. My grandfather said I looked like I wanted to dig a hole in the fairway and like bury myself in it. I was so embarrassed. So I'm sure I've done so many more embarrassing things, but
and what does your caddy say to you there? And what is it? How do they pick you back up, right?
I always say like a good caddy, you shouldn't really be able to tell if their player is playing poorly or not. Like you should, either way, either extreme. You should be able to look at a caddy and not really be able to tell, is their player 5 under par or 5 over par? So in that situation, the caddy should be very calm, maybe laugh with you if you're laughing about it to get you kind of laughing is always a kind of good medicine there. And just walk to the next shot and get the next yardage and stay about as even keel and cool as you can.
So you get up on the fairway and your caddy's standing behind you helping you read the putt. Uh-huh. Are you in agreement with him? Disagreement? How often?
I don't usually.
I don't even remember who your caddy was.
I had one of my dearest friends, Rock, for 13 years. He caddied for me for the majority of my career.
And why was he your caddy?
He's just my guy. We worked really well together. He came. Started working for me. I guess it was my 3rd year, maybe my 4th year on tour. Let's see. Yeah, it would have been the start of my 4th year, I believe, and. Till the end of my career, we worked really well together. We had good rapport on the golf course, kind of like big brother, little sister kind of relationship. And, you spend a lot of time with a caddy on the road. They're the only person that can give you advice and really talk to you in those moments. You go through a lot together. You see caddies and their ups, players and caddies with, winning, and it's great and it's euphoric, but there's a lot of struggling times too, and Rock was always very loyal in that respect, and I always appreciated that.
What's he doing without you now?
But is it kind of like you say, Rock, give me my 7-iron? He says, no, you only need an 8 here. Or you need
sometimes, yeah. I'd say on the full swing, we had really good conversations that way. He when you caddy for somebody for so long, he knew my game, and you're getting all the variables from the wind to the temperature to the grass to the whole location to, all the different things to the moment. If you're in a big moment, you might just be have a more adrenaline. So you might want to take a little bit less club, or, there's so many different variables that go into the way a professional would think about a golf shot. And he certainly knew that very well. I would say with putting, for the most part, I read my own putts. Putting was always a strength of my game. I would call him in if I had a question, if I wasn't sure, maybe, usually if it was a straighter putt. If it was quite straight, I'd say, do you see anything here? Like, if I saw curves very well, very kind of artistic in that sense, the way that I always putted, but the straighter putt, I always kind of wanted to read something into it. So I'd call him in to say, hey, what do you see here? And that would be about it.
Oh, there are no straight putts here.
even if there's no break in it, there's no straight putt.
Hey, I thought it was straight. Why'd it go right?
Morgan,
pushed it.
I put you on the spot for your most embarrassing moment. Tell us your most euphoric moment or moments.
Some of my favorite moments on tour were playing in the Solheim Cup, playing for my country. The Solheim Cup is, the women's version of the Ryder Cup. For people who don't know, 12 players from the United States, 12 players from Europe, and truly win or lose. Obviously, much better to win, but just those moments on the course, going from playing an individual sport to playing a team sport, playing, with a partner, and a team, and wearing, red, white, and blue, standing on the first tee, your name being announced as, representing the United States. Those are some of the real coolest moments of my career. That mixed with winning, I'd have to say winning a major was definitely another highlight. And even more than winning was the tradition after winning the Chevron Championship was to jump in the water. And I jumped in the lake with my grandmother. So that was a lot of fun.
We got to get that video.
Was that right when you win the $1 million in 2015?
It was.
It was 2007.
It was 2007. Yeah.
What year?
2007 when she was 17 years old.
7. Oh, was your best year of earnings?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Come on. See,
I don't look at that stuff.
Wait.
She wasn't playing for that
Wine,
reason.
business, and life. Okay, we got to get a little bit of the business stuff.
No, but golf, it was a business. It is a business for me, but you can't play golf thinking about the money.
Oh, that's interesting.
You just can't. You don't sign up for a tournament thinking about the purse and honestly, even.
So you're not standing there on the 18th hole and say, if I make this putt, I'm going to get $100,000 and I'll just use round numbers. And if I miss it, I get 5,000. No. That doesn't even cross your mind.
Once that crosses your mind, you're done.
Wow.
Yeah, you really can't. The time, you really can't think like that. It's too crippling. You cannot play with that kind of mentality. Yes, I would be standing over a putt saying if I make this, I win the tournament, which is different playing for a trophy than thinking about, financial gain. You really, but I think that's, if you really love what you do, you're not thinking about necessarily the back end. You're really enjoying the process and being there in that moment. I really think we talked how hard golf is mentally. You cannot be thinking about that while you're in those moments.
Morgan, when I watch the tournaments as a fan, spectator, you watch and say, wow, that missed putt cost them, and it's a lot of money. So
now working TV, we talk about that on TV. This is and this putt's worth X, but the player on the green does not know that.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we get back into
or shouldn't know that,
and I wouldn't think so. There's plenty of time. It's like the game. There's time for counting when the dealing's done. But right now, it's about sport and competition and play and doing the best I can. One of the things that's also amazed me about golf and people take for granted is, and discount the physical part of it, is that you're walking every day of the tournament. And that's a lot of walking. So most people don't play multiple days in a row walking a golf tournament or golf course while competing at that kind of level. How much of a factor is that actually in the game? Because when Tiger got hurt, for example, when you hear his leg go, we're never going to see him back the same because he's not going to be able to walk and compete at that level again. And he hasn't been able to, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's something that, just like most things, you don't realize it until it's taken away from you in that sense. But, for me, I was walking 18 holes, 5, 6, probably 6 times a week. And hopefully 6 times a week. Because
that's the practice days.
That's making the cut. But you kind of get used to it. I would say more I noticed it when I stopped doing that my waistline noticed that a little bit. I realized that I wasn't getting in all the steps that I was so used to getting in. But yeah, it's some golf courses, it's hilly, it's hot. There's a lot of different variables that sometimes I say, why in the world did I ever choose an outdoor sport? But it's the ones who really embrace that, especially when you play in a windy, rainy day in England, you're just like, oh, what am I doing out here? But you have to embrace it. Everybody's got the same challenge, and you really just have to really tack down on that. But, in terms of the walking, yeah, it's the thing that you don't really appreciate what you have in that sense until you can't do it anymore.
People pay big money to play rainy courses in England, by the way.
That's true. Morgan, talk about a couple of years ago, you made the decision to retire. 34, 33?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Talk about what was going through your mind. I mean, I know you're super competitive. You're telling us your mom was super competitive. Was it, you just didn't feel like you could compete at that level, or what work it took? Share us.
Yeah, so I retired. I guess we'll officially put as retired from professional golf. I did not retire. I can't quite yet retire. But no, just kind of a change in career for me. I had been thinking about it for a little while. Like, nothing really like that ever happens that quickly unless you're injured. Fortunately for me, it was a decision that was in my hands and that I could make without being injured. But I was just really at a point where I was very frustrated with myself, with my golf game. I would say COVID accentuated it a little bit, or accelerated it. There were a lot of, certainly golf was one of the first sports to come back through COVID because of the social distancing nature, but it was still, the isolation of not being able to go to restaurants and not being able to do the things that I love to do and be social. And a lot of that was it was a hard year. It was a hard year for a lot of people, but it definitely made me, I think a little bit more about maybe it's time to do something else. And, I was fortunate that Golf Channel had always somewhat expressed interest and said, hey, if you're ever interested in doing television, let us know. And, the times when they had said that to me, I said, oh, I'm not ready. I still want to play. I was, like you said, still quite young. And even still to this day, I get people who don't really understand why I don't play anymore. But it was definitely the right thing for me at that time. And it was, I think, a moment in Golf Channel 2 where they were looking for new talent certainly with the LPGA Tour, and it was just really good timing. I'm so grateful that I've kind of found that path, and I have a fabulous team at Golf Channel, NBC Sports that I work with week in, week out. It's a lot of fun. And I say that, I mean, it's not unusual in a former professional athlete going into television. And I say it's probably the closest that you're going to get to the adrenaline you'd feel in the moment in, walking down the 18th hole with a chance to win. That red light goes on. It's game time. You have to bring your stuff. You have to perform. And it's not the same as being in the heat of the moment in that competition for a trophy, but there's a lot of similar adrenaline rush that kind of, with live television, that I can see why a lot of athletes do gravitate towards that.
You're really fantastic. I'll be honest, I'm not much of a LPGA fan. Matter of fact, if I'd,
we got to turn you into one.
Well, you turned me into one.
You got to watch it, and they're broadcasting
I watch it all the time now.
Okay, good.
Because
so you converted him.
Like if I would turn on and there's no men's golf, I would, find something else or take a nap. And now, well, there's Morgan, and we're going to watch Morgan. So,
Whatever brought him to the broadcast.
with that, because I always liked, I know her. So with that, I want you to grab the second wine.
All right.
So this is a 2009 Screaming Eagle, one of the finest wines in the world.
Wow.
Rated 100 by Robert Parker.
Amazing.
And you're going to tell me this is better. This is not as good as the Saddle. No, I'm just kidding.
I feel so honored. Cheers.
We are honored to have you.
Well, and actually, the fact that you work for
Let her
NBC
enjoy that for a second.
You work for NBC. You work for NBC. Their corporate headquarters, Comcast, is only 12 miles from Saddle Hill.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't
All right,
know
let
it
her
was right there.
savor this for a moment.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's just drink. It's like a perfect age too. Drinking beautifully. Wow, it's smooth.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're always in Jersey every year for a tournament, right?
Yeah.
She loves the Seaview Shop Break Classic.
So while you're sitting there enjoying the wine, let me give you some simple rapid fires.
Okay.
Favorite course or courses?
Pine Valley.
Wow.
Yeah, Pine Valley I've loved it since. I've had the honor to play it a few times, but I've always loved it.
And how'd you do?
It's so hard, but it's so fun.
How'd you do? Well, how do you do?
I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Did you get into that trap, Devil's Asshole?
Oh,
You get a ladder to get out.
yeah, I have not hit it in there. I have not hit my golf ball in there, but I have dropped a golf ball in there to try and get out. It's just impossible.
Isn't that special?
How does that happen?
I've played 3 times.
Have you hit it in there?
Every time.
One leech
Every time. It's actually impressive. It's like a tiny bunker. It's a tiny target.
Yeah.
You can hold your hands out and touch like both sides.
It's unbelievable.
It's so
Well,
cool.
it's right in front.
Yeah.
So if you hit it straight and
So you
you're
need
short,
to take more club.
thank you, Morgan.
She's a coach as well. And Morgan, though,
It's a par 3. Can I use a driver?
Sure. Whatever you need.
you've played great courses all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And here's Pine Valley that a lot of people may not know because every year it's not on the tour. It's a really hard course to get on, even for a professional like yourself, a champion like yourself. What about Pine Valley makes it the best? And it's in New Jersey also, right near Saddle Hill Winery.
Yeah, just the character of the property. I mean, the design, of course, is magnificent. It's the way you can't really see any other hole from the hole that you're on. Just the challenge. Each hole is so memorable and so unique. Just really, I love everything about it, except having my shoes filled with sand by the end of the day because there's a lot of bunkers. And I mean, even everything about it is just so perfectly natural. There's no rakes in the bunkers, and it's perfectly unkept, if that makes sense. It's just really a natural beauty.
Except the greens, which are like putting on the hood of a car.
Oh, totally. I'm not. No, it's
hard.
perfectly kept, but it's just it really leans into that natural look and that natural aesthetic, and I love it.
And I love that it's right there tucked next to Clementon, New Jersey and Pine Hill, New Jersey. And you're driving through places. It's all of a sudden you come to this magnificent, most unbelievable. And every year of all the golf courses around the world rated the #1 course.
Yeah.
It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, and number 2 is not too bad either. Cypress usually. That's those are two pretty sweet spots. I have to say it is hard to choose between 1 and 2 there. But
And then
I don't know. I've always said Pine
what's your
Valley.
history at Marion?
I played Marion for the first time this summer or this fall. So
Really?
Yeah, it was.
What'd you
Fabulous.
think?
Oh, it's fabulous.
Isn't it great?
It's just
great.
It was a lovely day, great group. We had a lot of fun, and I played okay. Nowadays my game's not quite what it was when I played on tour, but if I played some respectable golf. I played some respectable golf.
Are you shooting in the 70s when you play in the golf?
Oh yeah, hopefully.
So you're still
Yeah, I hopefully.
Listen,
I hope to
for
shoot
her,
around
it's
even
impressive.
par. I hope to shoot
Yeah,
around
over
even
par is bad.
That's a reasonable day.
I shot 45 out here for 9 holes. Aren't you impressed? The
And
other
you're,
day,
still, and you're
Saturday.
still taking the golf balls out that you think you're going to hit in the water? But that's every hole here.
I know.
Morgan, they had the U.S. Open at Murray, and I think it was 2013.
That's right.
And it was a monsoon on day one, and I was out there, and it's this pristine piece of property, and it got destroyed that first day.
Yeah.
And the tournament turned out to still be good. I mean, it's the U.S. Open, but I was just walking around there. I go, oh my God, the members must be dying here as the galleries are walking through. So now that's what you do. You walk. Now, there's things about golf that I'm curious about, and you've touched on it. For me, watching the team tournaments, the Ryder Cups and the Solheim Cups are the best. They're the most fun from a spectator standpoint for me, because I love team. And, because if otherwise you're just watching, maybe rooting for one person, but you're rooting for your country. But it looks like the golfers are having the most fun. And you've already touched on it. They've tried all sorts of different things in golf going forward. But one of the things that you mentioned as an announcer now, it's almost it's the closest thing you can get to the thrill. But it's different when you're not the competitor. So I'm curious your relationship with the other ladies now on tour, and what was like also being competitive with everybody else you're playing against and not having any teammates.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very individual sport in that sense. I mean, like I said, your caddy is really the only one there inside the ropes. I certainly had friends, and I had friends who we talk about golf, and we would play practice rounds together and things like that. But it's definitely different now because I was much more focused on myself. I was much more, worried about what I was doing, and now, from my perspective, I can kind of step back and watch the tour as a whole. And I've always been a very proud member of the LPGA Tour. It's the longest running female sports organization in the world.
Wow.
And we have a phrase, act like a founder. So basically leave the tour better than you found it. The 13 incredible women who founded the LPGA Tour and kind of embody their spirit through everything that you do in representation of the tour. And now to be part of it from the broadcast side and be able to see the incredible talent that maybe I wasn't really watching before because I knew I was competing against them, but I was, again, focused more on myself. So it's really been kind of fun to shift gears and still be such a big part of the LPGA Tour, but from a different perspective. And, I'm a golf fan at heart. I do love the game as much as sometimes it frustrates the heck out of me. I do love the game. And, it's an interesting perspective now as opposed to competing against players to now covering them, I guess is a little bit in the media. But there's just so many incredible stories to tell. And I think that's where I really kind of have leaned into teaching the public about these incredible players more than just, how they get spin on a sand wedge, but, really who they are as people. And it's a fun place to be.
And then, so last week, I'm walking out of my house and I see somebody running by, and I was going for a run, and I saw a little pink bow in the back head, and I said, I think that's Morgan. And next thing I know, Morgan's running next to me. I'm going to want to talk about what's next for Morgan. But talk about what you're looking forward to in the Fort Lauderdale Half Marathon.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what got into me, but I just kind of felt like I needed to. We talk about not walking golf courses anymore, so I needed to whip my butt into shape. So I don't know. I just said, you know what? I didn't know you were such an exceptional triathlete and all of these things.
Exceptional. I just played at it for a while.
But yeah, I mean, you kept me. I think that was a 13-mile run that I had to do that day.
I know.
And I did it.
You text me the map. Why are you running around? Why are you running around in the community for 13 miles?
Because I got to stop back home to get my gels and my water. I put my water and I run in the loop.
You didn't learn about planting yet? You plant. No, it is actually really convenient.
Yeah, it's convenient. I just leave it in my driveway and I run back. But no, it was. It's been fun. I've actually right now struggling with a little after that run, struggling with a hip issue. So I've got to figure that out because I don't have much time left, and I do feel like I can hit the goals that I want, but I need to get my hip sorted.
You're training for a half marathon?
Yes.
And you ran a half marathon to train for the half marathon?
I did, yes. But it's much slower pace than what
you're gonna do.
What I'd like to do.
So Morgan, you're an accomplished young lady, and you have I know you have a lot of goals, and I'm wildly impressed watching you behind the mic. What's next?
Good question. I mean, I really enjoy. I mean, I've only been doing this. This is going to be, I guess, my 5th season now. Is that right? I must have a math. Gosh, the math just like it goes so fast, right? But this will be my 5th season, I think. Working with the team, and I really do enjoy what I'm doing. I love the opportunity. I mean, last year I worked my first Olympics, which was really quite special. So awesome. And golf hasn't been in the Olympics for very long, so it wasn't really. I didn't have a great chance to be in the Olympics when I was playing. So to be there and to see that again from that pulled back perspective, and it was really neat. I was at the old course broadcasting at St. Andrews in Scotland, which was really cool. I don't exactly have that answer yet, and I think I'm just kind of going with right now. Working a lot in television, seeing what other doors I keeping my I'm always creating content in different sense on social media, so kind of stuff like that. But just different opportunities that come my way. I'm always open, and but I really do love what I'm doing, and I've enjoyed very much being part of the team at Golf Channel.
And having represented many athletes who then went into broadcasting, the post-playing career is a lot longer than the playing career if you want it to be. And so you are really at just the tip of the iceberg so far in that career. Where do you put your social media content? Can people catch it?
Yeah, most of the time I'm most active on Instagram. That's probably, I'm a millennial, so most active on Instagram. I usually then share it to Facebook, and I'm not really on Twitter or X because it's just, people are too negative. So I haven't been on that in years. And I dabble in TikTok, but who knows how long that's going to last.
It's about right.
I know.
And Morgan, as Bill talks about the future, your future to be determined, and it can take all sorts of shapes that you have no idea what's about or which way it's going to go. He's changed a lot of different directions and continues to, which is part of the fun of life. But golf is at an interesting point where there's a couple of things happening that are changing the landscape a little bit. One was the Live Tour. We're not going into politics about it whatsoever, but it was a real strange turn in PGA history. Now you've got the Tiger League or whatever they're referring it to as. And you mentioned before, why did I ever pick an outdoor sport? It's actually turning golf potentially into a broader indoor sport for at least availability to people. So it's like there's a changing thing, and you don't know what the future of golf's going to be, but I personally kind of like at least a concept. Living in a northeast city in Philadelphia, there you can only play really half the year. That stuff's great.
I think something that's really cool, even kind of before TGL, were area or companies that create basically 10 hitting bays, and you can rent out the hitting bay for almost like a bowling alley for 2 hours, 4 hours, have a party, have a bunch of your friends, somewhat similar to Top Golf or something like that, which really
5-iron is one.
Yeah, there's a few companies that do that, and living in South Florida, we don't really have them down here, but definitely when you're up north and in the winter, it's a great way to stay sharp in your game, to just have fun with it. And their technology has gotten to a place where it's more affordable and more widely accessible for people, and I think that's great. And I think it also, things like Top Golf, like simulator golf, bring more people to the game. And at the end of the day, that's really the most important part. And it'll be really interesting to see TGL is in its infancy. And I think people are still kind of curious how it's all going to be received throughout the rest of the season. But it's definitely something different. And, a lot of times innovation, people don't like change. So,
no doubt.
But how it'll all shake out, it yet to be seen.
The younger generation likes different things than us older generation.
I can't even watch Live Golf.
Well, we're not the Live Golf. I didn't want to get
it's just a weird. To your point, though, it's like the same old golf that I've always seen.
Their broadcast, and I don't want her to have to criticize someone else's broadcast, but I think their broadcast is brutal, which hurts it as well. But there's a whole concept.
What about seeing a guy in shorts? You can't wear shorts in the PGA.
The first golf simulator I ever saw in anybody's house was in Bill Green's house in Cherry Hill back in the mid 90s.
Yeah, I built this house, and we built a room while we were designing the house. And guy comes in and he says, you're only the second home I've put a golf simulator in. And I said, well, who was the first? He said, Michael Jordan. So I really should have paid a little more attention to that room. But I always said that, like, when you hit on a hard surface and you practice too much, you can be hitting down and it would be a shitty shot on the course, but you kind of your club bounces off of it and you can hit a great shot on the simulator.
The mat can be definitely more forgiving than
right.
Than the
Okay,
grass.
there you go. See, what do I know about
A mat could definitely be more forgiving.
Well, Morgan, as we said, we talk about wine, business, and life. Your business is interesting. Everybody wishes they could be a professional athlete. You got to do it. And I've always been so impressed with women athletes because there's a little more to overcome. Fortunately, it's gotten better as time has gone on, but it's just phenomenal that you were doing that at such a young age. Just tell me what it was like being a high school student while playing on real tours and how your friends treated you, or did you just feel like this was normal for a girl to be flying all over the world and a high school student?
I guess you'd probably have to ask my friends what they thought. I went to class like a normal student. I'd, miss a week here or there and have to make up tests or exams or papers or things like that. But, for the most part, I didn't go to an academy. I went to, what time do we start? 8 till probably 2:30 or 3. I went to school full time and went to practice until it got dark afterwards. And, I grew up at a time, I think it's very different right now. Golf was not cool when I was playing, especially for young girls. It's definitely changed organizations like the First Tee, LPGA, USGA, Girls Golf, even just COVID in general, like spiking the game of golf, especially for youngsters. It's been great to see, but it was not that way when I was growing up. So I don't know what my friends would have thought. Oh, there she goes, off to play golf again. How fun.
I was worried about making my JV basketball team. You were playing all over the world at a professional level.
Right. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for being here. This is really special. I know our viewers or listeners are just going to be blown away when this episode goes live. So thank you so much.
Cheers to you. Thank you for having me.
When's the half marathon?
I got a few weeks left.
All right.
So.
Yeah.
We wish you all the best.
You're going to taper, right? You got to taper.
Well, I'm already tapering because my hip is bad. So I'm already tapering
actually,
too early.
I will tell you, my best marathon ever, I was 34, 35, and I got hurt. I pulled a hamstring before. And for the month before, I only did deep water running. And I didn't put my sneakers back on till like 5 days before the marathon.
Wow.
And it just proven that I overtrained. And the rest made me broke 330. So.
All right, I'm gonna go deep water running. That's what I'm gonna go doing.
It's amazing.
Okay.
You can do it just outside.
Better heat my pool. I'll come over here.
There you go.
Coming over here.
All the best.
Well,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the next Uncorked.
Cheers.